Intermarriage is one of the gravest problems that the Jewish community faces today.
A majority of Jews intermarry. That's unheard of in Jewish history.
The Jewish world is, on the one hand, if you ask which way they're going, I'd have to say this is the direction of the Jewish world.
Jew today is so uninformed about his religion that it's almost frightening.
The bottom line is, without the Torah and without religion, really we have no basis for saying to a person, don't marry that nice, wonderful, warm, intelligent non-Jew.
But the vast majority of people who don't have a strong commitment, once they intermarry, that's it. The kids, for the most part, are not going to be Jewish, and that branch of the Jewish people are going to cease to be.
Love is a very effective blinder. It blinds us very, very much, especially young people who have very strong lust and desire for each other.
There's love and there's love. There's love that is based on knowledge, on common values, on a clear direction, right, that two people have, that's based on choice, that is true love. And then there's infatuation.
That takes more than love to have a lasting relationship. Well, I'm not saying that, God forbid, love is not necessary, but love alone is not sufficient.
And the love wears off. Don't kid me about the love. Love wears off. And slowly, people become themselves, and they become back to their self-centered attitude.
In my experience, real love occurs only about 15 to 20 years after you're married, and you know what it really is. After you've gone through all the trials and tests and crises and dangers and risks, if you stay together and learn to appreciate each other and respect each other, then love comes.
And you could say love conquers all, but it's not true. That's the reason there's such a high divorce rate, because love doesn't seem to be that effective a tool in conquering problems.
You know, you don't only marry a man or a woman. You marry, I said, a family. I'll expand on that. You marry a community. Very often people get married, and when they join a good community, then they fit into that community, where in a mixed marriage, neither community will really accept you, because there's always that subtle rejection. Not open, but there's a certain subtle rejection.
Two people with two different backgrounds, two different sets of values, with ultimately, according to our tradition, two different types of spiritual makeups, how can they possibly truly experience the highest levels of love?
There are still deeply rooted in you certain values that belong to your nation, that your grandparents and parents transmitted it to you, and they are very deeply rooted. They will surface eventually one day. When there will be any strife, there will be any problems in the marriage, all these differences all of a sudden will come to surface.
When it comes to an intermarriage, there is so many cultural differences and social differences that unless they're going to have a tremendous amount of therapy before they get married, it's just, any psychologist will tell you that it's doomed to failure. The guilt feelings a kid like this is going to have, and the family problems, etc.
But if you're going to plan for a family, then you want to make sure that your children grow up not only with their physical needs satisfied, not only with their educational needs satisfied insofar as a career is concerned. You want to give them something to live for as well as with.
I think it's the sensitivity, it's the realization that now you have a child, and what is this child? It's neither fish nor fowl, it's going to be nothing. To say, you know, well, I'm not going to instruct that child in any religion. When the child is 21, he or she will make up its mind, is sheer folly. It's nonsense.
Because when it comes to those poor children, they will be so mixed up. And even if you say, well, it doesn't really matter, because religion is so watered down, you're not giving your children anything except confusion. That's not a fair way to raise children in a mixed marriage.
The problem is that to so many Jews, they don't realize what it means to them. You know, suddenly you come in and you find a Christmas tree in your house, or suddenly you realize you have a boy and you have to decide, am I going to make him a bris or not? And suddenly you decide, you know, my father died, am I going to say Kaddish? You know what I mean? And these are issues that they didn't touch my life, but all of a sudden it starts to appear. And then they didn't realize it, so it puts this extra strain on a marriage, you know, so that the divorce rate in intermarried couples are much higher than that in Jewish married couples.
And so all divorces and all separations, the children are the victims. There's no way to get around it, no nice way to get around it.
And according to the UN demographic yearbooks, Divorce happens in approximately the fourth year. In the U.S., it's a bit low, the fourth year. Now, what we've found, also with intermarriage, is that the high of the relationship, the infatuation, etc., it carries the couple for a year, for maybe 2 years, at which point, when the infatuation starts to fade, so too the problems, the differences start to emerge.
It is unbelievably difficult from that original dream world, that world of imagination, to the world of reality. There's such a gap that takes sometimes a year or 2 years of marriage to expose.
I remember a girl telling me a story. She was married to a gentleman, and when they got into a fight about some money, whatever, he called her, "You the dirty Jew." This was in a marriage that was a very happy marriage. But when something really serious came between them, his internal feelings toward the Jew, the negative feeling against the Jew, has come up.
Even marriage between two people of very similar backgrounds are in trouble today. I don't know the exact figures, but the divorce rate is enormous. And the more we accept divorce as a normal part of family life, the more tragic it is for the children. And after all is said and done, parents owe everything to their children, almost everything. And they certainly owe them the care, the concern that takes place before the children are conceived, that they not be exposed to a life of one parent living one place and one parent living another place, and all the enmity and all the difficulties that ensue.
So I'll go to a rabbi, and he'll tell me I can get intermarried. He intermarried me.
Today, to call yourself a rabbi is very, very easy. Almost to the point that some rabbis could just print a nice stationery and a nice sign outside his door, write down Rabbi so-and-so, and he becomes a rabbi. Nobody today checks anybody's credentials, number one. Number two, not everyone who even is ordained as a rabbi is a rabbi who is loyal to the laws of the Jewish laws of the Torah.
Evaluate your rabbis or the people you get advice from. Do your own evaluation and see are they really serious in their Judaism? Do they really mean it? Are they really deeply spiritual people? Are they really concerned with the future of the Jewish people?
No one who knows Talmud, no one who is even in a very superficial way acquainted with it, can say that there is permission to enter into an intermarriage. It's simple as ABC. And the fact that some people tell you that is permitted means that they don't know the ABC of Talmud or of the Jewish tradition.
We need to go through some historical sources. We need to understand what Judaism is, has been, and more importantly, will be. Which type of Judaism is going to last?
Well, differing opinions is one thing within the framework of halacha, within the box of Jewish life. But to say, I want to be a Buddhist, that's a differing opinion. That really is not within the purview, right? And it's clear that this is not within the purview. In fact, I think within the Reform movement itself, there is now a great reawakening and search for tradition, etc., and a realization that that's not Judaism, right? If you marry out of the faith, you married out of the faith, period.
I can't tell you that every person who's walking around with the title rabbi is scrupulous and honest, and any more than I can tell you that every doctor is competent, or any more than I can tell you every auto mechanic wouldn't deal with stolen car parts. You know what I mean? You gotta make sure you're dealing with a reputable person who's taking this thing seriously.
What is with my family? What's with my mother, my father? All of a sudden, they're so concerned about Yiddishkeit, and beforehand, they couldn't care less.
The child's statement is 100% correct, but that doesn't justify intermarriage.
But what was missing was the fire, was the meaning of their Jewishness. What was missing was the reaching out of an educator, of a teacher, if a rabbi.
The question, you want to show your children, you think Judaism is important, don't tell them, show them. Show them a Shabbos, and show them a powerful Jewish experience, as opposed to, Judaism is always very important to us.
Wouldn't it be fair, in a sense, to give Judaism a chance too? That means, if all I'd say to you is suspend a month, 2 months, have a summer off in a place where you will get authentic Jewish education.
But the first place to look for is in your own backyard. Learn what it means to be a Jew.
Did you ever think about how come the Jews through centuries have given up their lives and died on Kiddush Hashem in honor of God, and did not leave the Torah, did not transgress the laws, and did not intermarry with anybody? They're willing to die. If they couldn't live as Jews, they died as Jews. Did you ever ask yourself, why did they do it?
I really believe that a Jew wants to believe, wants to be Jewish. I really believe that every Jew feels guilty when they turn their back on their Yiddishkeit, on their Judaism. And sometimes all it takes is to meet another Jew who's proud.
Again, the basic solution, the ultimate solution, is to have a strong family and to have Jewish values and a Jewish education and a Jewish environment.
One of the main reasons for intermarriage is lack of education, lack of pride of being Jewish, lack of being identified as a Jew, lack of understanding what it is to be a Jew, the beauty of a Jewish family.
There's something inside you which has never even been tapped. You have never tapped your resources. That means a child has, or this person who's getting intermarried is missing part of his personality, a major part. If you would only tap in to the soul within you, deep inside you, there's something very beautiful.
There are many people, there are many organizations, institutions to turn to. Thank God, throughout the world there are institutions such as Neve Yerushalayim, Eish Torah, or Sameach, Chabad, many individuals and groups who would help to facilitate.
My advice would be that both of them undertake a period of study, a period of exposing themselves to Jewish experiences of all kinds, but especially to such cardinal Jewish experiences as the observance of Shabbat or of the holidays.
But go to a place where they say, ask, think, and as soon as you stop thinking, we throw you out, because we don't want that. Because Judaism is based on thinking and asking questions and asking questions.
Find out who you are, what your religion is. Experience it. Go to Jewish homes, see Jewish couples, see Jewish children, religious children, living like a true Jew is supposed to live. Just being at the Shabbos table, seeing the beautiful family reunion at the Shabbos, where a little child of 3 and a grandfather of 70 have a common language.
Now, thousands of people decided to be Jewish, or you wouldn't be here today as a Jew. Any one of those 1,000 people would have dropped out, that whole line would have fallen out, including you. You know what it was to be a Jew? It meant you were going to suffer anti-Semitism, oppression, economic hardship, exile, death. And thousands of people chose that rather than give it up, because they felt there was something special about this thing called the Torah, about this thing called Judaism. It was worth risking their lives and going through all kinds of hardships to pass it down to you. So now you have this box, and maybe it's filled with a lot of junk, and maybe it's a treasure. But if you intermarry, you're going to throw it away. And I just maintain that before you throw it away, it's worth your while to open up the box and see whether or not there's a treasure inside. If a person is thinking about intermarrying, then you owe it to yourself to take off a year and study what it is to be a Jew, and then make the decision if I want to throw this away again or not. But don't make an uninformed decision about something that important.